Global Times, 11th of April 2024, his remarks regarding China-India relations provoke contemplation. As it constructs a navy to dominate the Indian Ocean, China is diverting India's attention to the north while conducting an all-out war against the Indian subcontinent. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's rare forthright statement regarding China-India relations has garnered considerable interest. During an exclusive interview with American Newsweek, he asserted that the India-China relationship is vital and significant. Both nations need to address the protracted situation on our borders immediately to rectify the anomaly in our bilateral interactions. He stated that peaceful and stable relations between India and China are vital not only for the two nations but for the entire region and the world, adding, "I hope and believe that we will be able to restore and maintain peace and tranquility along our borders through positive and constructive bilateral engagement at the diplomatic and military levels." Reuters perceived the remarks as an apparent softening of tone regarding bilateral issues between China and India. Throughout the years, intermittent remarks have been made on China-India relations and border matters by Indian officials, including military and diplomatic representatives, fluctuating between cautious and assertive. Nevertheless, Modi's explicit declaration, particularly his stance, is exceedingly uncommon and strategically timed, which explains why it garners such extraordinary public interest. At the Group of Seven, G7, summit in Hiroshima, Japan, last year, Modi stated that peace along India's border is vital for normal relations and that India is committed to protecting its sovereignty and dignity. He sparked considerable anticipation. This statement aimed to appease the Western audience, which desired to see a dispute between China and India. This time, his comments are more pertinent because they are made ahead of the impending Indian elections and following the escalation of border tensions between China and India as a result of the US's prejudiced position. His remarks thus deserve more consideration, given that they were made after the escalation of China-India border tensions precipitated by the United States' partial position and before the forthcoming elections in India. Modi's interview has sent positive indications concerning China-India relations. This action redresses the recent escalation in India's stance and conduct regarding border matters, showcasing a readiness to resolve challenges in a practical manner and promote amicable relations between the two countries. China has consistently maintained this stance. Border disputes do not comprise the entirety of China-India relations. They ought to be strategically positioned within the framework of the bilateral relationship and effectively managed. Both factions possess sufficient intelligence and capability to accomplish a diplomatic and military resolution to the dispute. A healthy and stable trajectory for bilateral relations can be anticipated if India successfully executes Modi's declaration and engages in a midpoint meeting with China. Undoubtedly, concerning an interview featured in Newsweek, a prominent American publication, Modi is aware that these remarks are primarily aimed at the American public and Western opinion. Although these statements might not be pleasing to some in Washington who seek to undermine China by souring relations between China and India, India is precisely trying to convey the opposite message. India's highest authorities have maintained an intelligent awareness of Washington's intention to escalate the dragon-elephant rivalry or even steer China and India toward conflict. They have retained strategic autonomy in establishing their relations with China. Additionally, they have exhibited a measured approach towards domestic and international voices advocating for a stronger alliance between the United States and India, thereby granting themselves greater flexibility. Furthermore, these statements exemplify India's stance regarding the present state of geopolitical and economic relations. The views and attitudes of Modi, one of the most influential candidates in this election, during this interview, which covers a variety of facets of India's rise in domestic and international affairs, will unquestionably provide a glimpse into the crucial trajectory of India's future development. India continues to prioritize development, which requires a conducive regional environment. A protracted dispute with China would deplete India of the resources necessary for progress. In contrast, India would be better off maintaining relatively stable relations with China from a geopolitical and economic standpoint. Indeed, considering these two developing countries are historic civilizations from Asia, they are among the most remarkable developing countries globally. Their relationship and approach to development should transcend the simplistic notions of friend or foe or your strength is my weakness. Indeed, China has consistently urged India to adopt a strategic and long-term approach towards the bilateral relationship. India encounters considerable temptations and strategic snares in this endeavor, therefore, the nation must always maintain vigilance and reject distractions orchestrated by malicious third parties.